As you can see, there's nothing much left here, just a lot of debris and a lot of what might have been, what could have been. The house was torn down, I believe, in 2013. And this is just the remnants of a life gone terribly bad. You know, people used to come and search for Haley, put ribbons up. They had all kinds of signs, and there was even a group which called themselves Haley's Angels. So where I'm standing right here, this is where the house used to stand. So right here would have been approximately where Haley's room would have been, right here, facing the front of the house. And as you can tell, right over there, that's where her father, Clint, used to be able to watch and see his daughter coming and going. That day, supposedly she was going to visit him, and she never made it. Like I said, this town is about 2,000 people. And this area is mostly comprised of farmers and other things that help the economy. This was once the garage area, the driveway. So supposedly, as reports have stated, Haley was back here in this area on a cell phone. She supposedly walked to her friend's house, which was not far from here. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of walk with while I'm talking. I'm not quite certain where the friend's house is, but gonna kind of take you on a visual of where she would have walked had she walked that direction. As you can see, this is the back of her house. There's the water tower. And when they did the searches, her dad was quoted as saying he walked around looking in dumpsters, checking old abandoned buildings, and just trying to find his daughter. It's not a bad neighborhood, but as you can see, there's not any cameras either. No cameras, at least not in 2010 maybe. And you want to hear something creepy, I'm going to show you here in a minute. So, like I said, I'm not certain which direction Haley would have walked, but supposedly she walked to a friend's house. Well, when the friend was contacted, she denied that Haley ever was supposed to spend the night with her. She denied that they had ever planned it. I will discuss more about the case after I show you this live footage, because I don't have it memorized and it's been a while since I've done the case. And I have updated information that I can share with you. We're just a block over from where Haley lived. We're just a block over from where Haley lived. And many people were involved in the search. Her classmates, DPS, search teams from Texas, Colorado City, police department. A lot of people were involved looking for Haley. But I was going to tell you that I was going to show you something that was going to trip you out. Back in 1998 or 96, 97, I lived at this home right here. A block away. Obviously Haley Dunn wasn't born yet, but this is where I lived. My family and I. Obviously it's changed a lot. And you know where I said all those times that I used to do the peeping Tom stuff? That's the house. Can't believe I just admitted that, but I've talked about it many times. So there's the house. And I'll take you around this house. I used to walk across from my house over there, come to this window where that AC is. There used to be a swamp cooler, and peep right there in that window. And then I got brazen, and I shared this story with you guys one time. I was standing on some stuff in the back, right there by that door, the bathroom. And I almost got caught because I fell down. I ran down this alley. Ducking and diving. I was 13 years old at the time. There's the house. It changed a lot, but not a lot. Running down this alley at nighttime, dark, scared, my adrenaline going everywhere. Just looking out for the police, because I knew for certain the police had been called. Wow. I haven't been down this alley since I was 13 years old. And if my memory recalls, it was probably the same type of dogs barking. I hightailed it toward my home, which was a block over. Can't believe I'm sharing all this on the film. But just showing you that I don't lie on what I talk about. And I think I hid behind one of these trees when the police came. Might have been that pine tree over there. I crawled under it, waited for the police to leave. And then went to my home. I was never confronted. Nobody ever asked. Crazy life of a 13-year-old. But as you can tell, not that far away. Okay, as you can see down there, where that truck is, that's where Haley's house would have been, right across the street. It's also been rumored that Haley walked down this street. And that she was last seen up here by this hotel. I mean, in 2010, there was a lot of theories about what happened to her. A lot of conspiracy theories. A lot of things that people were making up on what happened to Haley Dunn. As you can tell, not a lot of these homes either may have not had high-end security, and there's definitely not any cameras in these poles. But we've since found out that the time frame in which they saw Haley was not the day of her disappearance. She never went by this hotel. I can possibly tell you, we've been in town probably 15 minutes. I've seen the same two cars at least twice. People are wondering who we are. So, 14 years ago, there was people wondering, asking questions, suspecting if this was the last location of Haley Dunn. As you can see up ahead, there's a stop sign, and that is Interstate 20. Heading east and west through Texas. There are two hotels actually. I'm not sure if this one was built yet, but there's this one, and then there's that one over there. Nonetheless, Speculation stated that she was last seen at one of those two. Okay, we're heading on to Snyder, Texas. The route that Sean Atkins took the morning that he drove to Snyder to supposedly quit his job and drove home. At this point, Billie Jean Dunn, the mother of Haley Dunn, reported that she had gone to work in Snyder at a nursing home where she worked. And Sean worked in Snyder, and he supposedly took this route to work. What's interesting about this route is the Texas Rangers documented that they got his pings on this route. He did drive to Snyder, walked into his job, bought a Dr. Pepper, and then walked out. There was theory that he supposedly talked to his boss about quitting, and that proved to be false. So at this point, Haley was supposedly in her bed. This was the morning of the 27th. She was supposedly in her bed, and nobody was at home with her. Her brother David had spent the night at another person's house. So Sean drove to Snyder, drank the Dr. Pepper, clocked out, and drove back to Colorado City, where his phone pinged later on that morning. And then supposedly he drove to Big Spring, Texas at his mom and dad's house, where he was looking up jobs since he had just quit his. All during this point, the Texas Rangers were able to document piece by piece of where his phone was pinging. There's been a lot of theories that when Sean went back home, that's when he supposedly killed Haley. Before then, there were theories that she was driven to Snyder and handed off to a drug dealer to work off the debt that Billie Jean Dunn and Sean Atkins had. The night before, they had been in Snyder, took out $140 from an ATM machine, and bought some methamphetamines. So all this coincides with a bunch of individuals that were living a drug lifestyle. I will discuss this further in the video that I'm going to show you after this play-by-play live that I'm doing at the moment. So this is the route that was supposedly taken on the morning where Haley was still at home. And supposedly when Sean came back home, he observed Haley not in her room, but she had already awoken and was out in the backyard on the phone. And she had told him that she was going to go see a friend and possibly spend the night. And that's when, after all that driving around, he came from Big Spring back to Colorado City. And that's when David came home, was beating on the door. He couldn't get Sean to open the door because it was locked. He crawled through a window, and Sean saw Sean meet him in the hallway with a deer in the headlight look, quoting David. Billie Jean Dunn came home that night, and Sean told her about the story of Haley going to her young friend's house to spend the night. There was no